Surveillance, wiretapping, espionage are commonplace for citizens of the Russian Federation. The Kremlin does not scheme on special services. It buys and finances the development of digital technologies and software, and it uses them, for example, to hunt so-called foreign agents.
A lot of money from the budget has been spent on this. And all this is done within the framework of information security and the protection of citizens from threats emanating from the internet, and of course from foreign agents who, using the internet, apparently pose a particular threat to the national security of the country. Therefore, their posts on social networks are monitored by Roskomnadzor, most likely using the same tools of the Radio Frequency Center. Galina Arapova, media lawyer, head of the Mass Media Defense Center, on the website of the Mass Media Defense Center.
Experts say that wiretapping and spying on the internet with the help of provider has been used by Russian special services since 1996. The scheme is simple. The subscriber connects to the internet provider that is tied to the system of operational search measures of the Federal Security Service. And what is most interesting, when paying for communication services, customers actually pay for the purchase and maintenance of surveillance equipment.
Here the question is not even that you pay for yourself, but that you are basically being monitored in other countries. We do not exclude that there is a connection between providers and law enforcement agencies. This has very big risks, because there is a big leak of personal data, personal information of all users who use certain resources. In Russia, these resources, for example Yandex, they are completely under the control of the Federal Security Service, and they see every step, every path that the user makes.
After the start of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, many international companies refused to cooperate with the Federation. The Kremlin decided to take advantage of the situation and began to promote Russian security certificates. In 2022, according to official figures, reference and information internet portal Gosuslugi issued nearly 10,500 such certificates.
All encryption keys must be restored, which means that user data with passwords will become even more accessible to law enforcement agencies. The main danger is that the entire security system of modern internet systems breaks down. This opens Pandora's box. A huge number of scammers begin to break into this niche. After all, if earlier a browser warning alerts users, now without certificates browsers will warn about the danger of entering all sites with Russian certificates. Some tolerance for warnings will be developed. Mikhail Klimarev, director of the non-profit organization Internet Defense Society, for the edition Greenhouse of Social Technologies.
And there is also the so-called spyware. They first appeared in the 90s, most often used by fraudsters as well as for spying on spouses, intimidate partners and subordinates. In 2013, American IT specialist Edward Snowden handed over to journalists evidence of the use of spyware by American intelligence agencies to spy on citizens of the country. After that, the UN actually banned these programs. However, later an Israeli development appeared, Pegasus. It allows to access the phone and even remotely turn on the microphone and camera of the device when the owner doesn't know about it. This program is forbidden to be sold to countries with authoritarian regimes, including Russia.
Israel is not the only country that supplies such technology, although it is there that they are most sophisticated. For example, India, which is Russia's partner, has its own spyware industry. Natalia Krapiva, digital rights expert at the Access Now project, for the edition Greenhouse of Social Technologies.
Face recognition system, social monitoring, online voting. They are positioned as security, convenience, digitalization. All this really makes life easier for citizens. It is easier for law enforcement officers to search for criminals, and citizens, for example, can vote in elections without leaving their homes. But the Russian version of the e-voting system imitates and falsifies the democratic process rather than helps to optimize it.
If these are public databases, respectively, there is very personal data that can be used in any situation. But again, in European countries, in Ukraine, such use is not possible, because the database holder bears a great responsibility for this. In Russia, it can be manipulated very easily, used against people.
The information collected by the Federal Security Service is used to blackmail and eliminate those undesirable to the regime. However, the Constitution of the Federation prohibits any surveillance of a person without a court order. Otherwise, the data obtained is not evidence in court. But in Russia, the Constitution has long been the main fiction.
They are already using it. We already had several criminal cases when the basis for the accusation was data on telephone conversations. But for this, there must be the consent of the court. No problem, although we have a constitution that prohibits such wiretapping. But at the same time, there is a code of criminal procedure that allows wiretapping.
Another method of identifying those unfavorable and brainwashing on an industrial scale is the so-called troll factories. One of the most famous is associated with Yevgeny Prigozhin. Bot comments not only undermine the credibility of quality journalism, but often influence social opinion. Reported by Sergei Kuras, Yulia Granovska, UATV News.